Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
Hello, you nerds. It's Tejas and Jishnu from the Geek Fruit Podcast, which you're about to hear in a bit. But before that, an advertisement.
Hello. The Moja Club makes awesome funky socks that you can buy individually or even better, in a pair. It's crazy, I know. You could get a subscription and sign up for 6 months or a year and get a pair delivered to your house every single month. And they will even throw in one pair for free.
And exclusively for you Geek Fruit nerds, get a full 33% discount. Just go to their website, themojaclub.in, and use the code GeekFruit, that's without spaces, during the checkout. If you're listening to podcasts, chances are you are part of a community of people who are already seeking out amazing content, and a high probability of that is music. Well, let me tell you about Made in India, a podcast that, as the name perfectly suggests, gives you a chance to enter the lives of some amazing independent musicians from India who have been making some excellent tunes and filling playlists for a while now. Catch Made in India every Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, anywhere you listen to podcasts, or even the IVM Podcast app.
You're listening to the Geek Fruit Podcast.
If you could say something to your 13-year-old self, assuming you're not 13, what would you say? Naveen, tell us.
It just gets worse.
Oh, well, that's depressing. You know what gets better? This episode where we're talking about coming-of-age stories. We have Naveen and Siddhant talking about it with me, Dinkar. Siddhant, what would you say to your 13-year-old self?
I would say, in the future, there will be a very handy Zac Efron, Matthew Perry movie, which will work out for you if you follow it.
13 going on 30?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Yeah.
All these body-switching movies, dude, they're all the same.
I love those.
17 again.
Oh, 17 again. 13 going on 30 was Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I take that one. I mixed up my body swapping movies. At least I didn't Freaky Friday, guys.
Yeah, this is true.
At least I didn't Freaky Friday. But they're all also coming of age stories because the parents and the children switching bodies and everyone learns.
Yeah, this is true. Everyone learns. Even the parents really come of age in a way.
In a way. Yeah.
Come of age is a weird
What I would
phrase.
really tell myself, 13-year-old self, would be that there's no flying hoverboards in 2015. Back to the Future lied to us.
It's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
I think what I'd tell my 13-year-old self is like, carry on, dude. You're like wasting your life watching movies, but apparently one day you can do a podcast about it.
And that's all you need to know.
That's all. I mean, that's the
That's
life
all you
goal,
need to know.
right?
Today is that day.
Today is that day. Today we're talking about movies where kids grow up, because in a lot of ways, a lot of you guys listening are growing up, and we are in the process ourselves as well. We have been for the past couple of decades and it's not worked out very well. So let's, as a family, get together and talk about this on the other side of this break. You nerds.
Did you know India's most popular music festival was, in a way, conceived in Estonia? We speak to someone who knows a thing or two about making the NS7 Weekender happen.
Did you know that some termites in Africa have a pleasant, minty flavor? And just as well, because we might all be eating them in a few years anyway.
Did you know that the world's greatest collection of human knowledge got its initial funding from a porn site? That's how Wikipedia started, and we tell you how it works.
Hey, I'm Chuck.
I'm Naren.
And I'm Sriket.
And together we're
Simplified!
Your fortnightly look at burning issues that you should know about.
Told to you in a way you'll understand, with humor, bad jokes, and PG Wodehouse references.
So that you can look smarter with minimal effort.
We're smart, funny.
Erudite and wise.
And ultra-crepidarian.
Wait, what's that?
To find out, tune into our show. Episodes out every fortnight on all podcast apps near you. And on the IVM Podcast app as well.
Oh yeah.
Hello and welcome to Geek Fruit. My name is Dinkar, and today I have with me Naveen, producer extraordinaire. Say hello, Naveen.
Hi.
And editor of geekfruit.in, Siddhant Mehta.
Hello.
And you guys are here for a very special reason. We're talking about coming-of-age movies.
Yes, and I don't know why we
you
are the ones.
make it sound weird. It's not
I
that
know.
we enjoy them particularly, and Naveen and I aren't particularly into kids coming of age or anything, but
I shaved for this episode.
he did though.
Yeah, we are not into kids coming of age, but we were kids coming of age at one point.
When we saw some of these movies, definitely.
This is true. I feel like a lot of our listeners are probably in that stage as well. In a lot of ways, we still haven't come of age. using this phrase so much.
Let's back
it's
away
not
from it a
great.
little bit. Yeah.
What do we call this? Teen movies.
Long bottoming.
Long bottoming.
Okay, I don't know if that's a better word, Naveen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Long bottom is.
Let's just go with like
we
good
found
kids,
the one option that's worse.
Growing up stories.
Growing up stories sounds good. So a lot of our listeners are in their teens, coming out of school, and the school year is just ending. So they need something to do with their lives and their time. And these are great options. This is pretty much how I spent like 13 to 18.
Yeah,
I'm guessing
just
you guys as well.
watching movies in the summer vacation.
Pretty much. And we came of age in several ways.
We long bottomed as well.
We long bottomed. We grew up. Coming of age makes me think of... Dude, it sounds like a ceremony where like you should be garlanded with. You have to hunt a lion, then you're garlanded with like human skulls, and you're like, this boy has come of age.
A lot of cultures have that, right? There's like the bar mitzvah and the thread ceremony.
And all,
yeah. You have all these kinds of.
Do we have a thing like that in India?
Isn't that the thread ceremony?
But I did see a social media post about this girl's puberty ceremony where it was like somewhere in the south, and they had this massive poster, and this girl is like, welcome to her puberty ceremony. She's now eligible to get married. And I'm like, okay, this happens. So like in India, we do that on a small level. So in Christians, of course, we have the confirmation where we are confirmed into, and then we are okay to marry and everything. So all religions across the world obviously have some kind
something.
of... all religions have basically
adulthood.
Something saying like, puberty's done, guys. Let's celebrate.
Take the next step.
Take the next step. But in movies, and more relevant to our lives, really, it's usually like emotional growth for the characters. Like they stop being a young girl or boy and become men and women.
Yeah.
Or robots sometimes.
Sometimes men and women.
Yes,
I mean,
this is true.
It's the next best thing. Some might say it's the best thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you grow from little boy to robot, you've
living
evolved
the dream,
quite a
dude.
bit. You've evolved quite a bit there.
You've become a ghost in the shell.
Nice.
So how this is going to work is we will go around the table and we've each thought of a couple of movies that we want to talk about. They might be hidden gems. They might be classics. They might be ones you've never heard of. Maybe they're ones you're watching right now. I don't know what you're doing with your life. So Naveen, since we're talking about robots, you were just describing a coming-of-age robot movie.
Yeah, so this is a director called Neil Blomkamp, if you haven't checked him out. District 9. And he's made some great movies, Elysium as well. The third movie that he made recently was called Chappie. It's something that not a lot of people have watched because of the kind of movie it is in general.
I think possibly also because of the name. It's called Chappie. I haven't seen it either. Siddhant, you?
No, I haven't watched it.
So for starters, Naveen, tell us, why is it called Chappie?
So Chappie is the titular character in the movie. It's a robot. It's an AI robot developed by Dev Patel. And he's the only British-speaking Indian in South Africa. He developed this AI, and now he wants to be the father, and he wants to teach the AI to basically become a better person in general. Because South Africa, this is set in the near future where all the police force is basically robots, and they're designed to curb crime and everything, but he sees that there's some humanity that can be inculcated into this robot. So he takes one of those called Chappie, and the robot, however, gets stolen from him by a gang called Diant Wood. They're actual musicians.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
so Diant Wood
Ninja and what's
a
robot?
Ninja and
Yolandi, yeah. And they become the foster parents of the robot.
What? So they're playing themselves as criminals who steal a robot?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they play their own music also in the background when they're fighting and stuff.
I
feel like they would do it.
Yeah.
This is something very similar happens in Atlanta, where Migos plays themselves as like drug dealing gangsters.
You should have said spoilers. I'm only on like episode 4.
This is not a spoiler. If anything, I'm building hype. It's amazing.
I love Migos.
Migos is so weird. Again, they're like the Diant Wood of Atlanta, of hip hop in general.
Possibly.
So, wait. So Dev built the robot.
Yeah.
And
he's an engineer in the company where the robots are built.
Point of order, we have to say Dev, right?
It is Dev, of course.
It's Dev.
All right, sorry.
What else is his name?
I don't know.
Jeho. So Dev basically, so now he wants to get the robot back and not leave him with the criminals. Yeah. But the robot, however, is like growing up. It's a baby robot essentially in terms of human intelligence.
But in a big robot body.
In a big robot body, yeah.
Okay.
So now they try to teach him to become a gangster and everything and shoot people. So there's a beautiful sequence over there.
There's a beautiful
with the gangster
sequence
teaching
of
him.
a small robot mind learning how to be a gangster.
Yeah, so for the first time in my life, I saw a robot's coming of age story in that regard. That it goes from nothingness to now becoming a smart, self-sufficient robot.
That's amazing.
Who also helps people out at the end. because in the middle it's convoluted because the gangster stuff also comes in.
Yeah, robot puberty is hard.
Yeah, robot puberty is hard. You gotta drop
all
some
the
nuts.
sockets don't fit anymore. The
He grew
compatibility
from
issues
a
are there.
chappy into a manny.
Yeah, the oiling also changes over time.
Or like suddenly a lot of oils are being secreted.
Yeah.
So wait, is this a good movie? Because honestly, it doesn't sound like it.
It sounds weird.
It sounds nuts.
It's
Sounds
not
weird.
a good movie.
No.
But I like the character arc. That's what the reason I went for this movie again because Neil Blomkamp works
He's
with
a
Shalto
great
Copley a lot.
director, yeah.
He works with Shalto Copley, and every movie that Shalto Copley's been in, there's been so much fun. Like even A-Team for that matter, new one, I enjoyed because Shalto Copley was there. He's such a weird person. So when he voiced the robot, there's a certain aura of cuteness that comes with the robot. It's like he talks to himself in third person, like Chappie do this, Chappie do that, and that's kind of cute. And there's a sequence where he watches He-Man for the first time, on TV, and he does the hand action with the removing of the sword from the sheath and like does the hand raise. It's kind of cute. Like there's a moment of learning that he's watching television and learning at the same time. There's some nice moments in that. Overall, the movie is not good. It's one of Neil Blomkamp's worst efforts.
Probably his worst. Did he do anything after that? Not yet, right?
No, he's still
he's
not come of
recovering.
age.
I guess
after-
I still feel like he started super strong with District 9. Elysium was okay, and
District 9
Chappie
was
Elysium
all
was
about-
good, dude. I really
I
enjoyed
liked it, but
Yeah.
I
I
haven't
don't know.
seen
It's
Elysium.
just maybe it
I
was.
That's
guess
when he
I'm
first saw
one for
Wagner
three.
Moura also, by the way.
He's
Who
what?
then became the Narcos head, Pablo Escobar.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, he's in. I haven't seen.
so Wagner
Narcos,
Moura
dude.
is in this?
Yeah.
What the shit?
in Elysium. Yes.
What?
Yeah, he's got a
This-
small role.
The arc that you're describing in Chappie reminds me a lot of another giant robot, and it's kind of a coming age story. The Iron Giant.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that.
That is
Actually, I
now
wasn't,
that's
but
a
you did.
legit. That's like an all. I've seen that movie like 5-6 times at least, and I still like. I mean, it is tears at the end,
Yeah,
dude.
you
It
have
is
to cry,
heartbreaking. So
Wow.
the reason it
Yeah.
reminded me is so the Iron Giant features a Iron Giant. It's a giant robot that's come from space that kind of comes of age, and like Chappie watching He-Man, which I'm guessing is a reference.
Correct.
The Iron Giant watches Superman and sort of
Yeah.
realizes that he should do good in the world, and he hangs out with a kid who has a super weird name, Hogarth or something like that. No.
Yeah. It's a great name, though.
It's a great
I mean, I
name.
wish I was named something powerful like that.
It's a World War era movie, so
like
they
Pierce.
had weird names.
I could
back
have been
then.
a Pierce.
What if you were a Pierce Hogarth? Because Hogarth could be a
Come on,
could
that's
be a second name.
That's an executive name.
It's
That's
an
like,
executive
I
name.
am a high power CEO in the making.
All
name.
right, I grant your wish
Yeah.
as this is my power in the Geek Fruit podcast today.
Okay.
So Pierce Hogarth,
Yeah.
tell us of a coming of age movie that you enjoy.
Oh, listen. Now, I've decided to just be weird about this or be funny about this.
Okay.
Or deep. Deep's another way I could have gone with this.
Deep's the only way to go, man.
There's a chance I could
You're
go
going
there
deep
eventually.
into the long bottom.
Deep into long bot. Okay. No, so I'm actually gonna go funny first. Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh,
Oh,
my
yeah.
God, that was mine.
No, it's too late. I took it.
Yeah.
Pierce Hogarth, you are breaking my heart.
Okay, I
Oh,
got another
dude.
one. You want to do that? Let's do that now.
Let's do it now.
Do it together.
We can share this.
We can share it.
Yeah.
I got backups because I
We,
felt that
we've
this might
learned that
happen.
we can share. I guess
Yeah.
in a way we've grown up.
We have. We've
Yes.
learned something today.
If there's anything that Scott Pilgrim taught us.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is true.
It's
But
to
Scott
get a
Pilgrim,
new
what a
name.
great movie. Tell us about it.
You know, get a new name and your identity and everything changes.
Oh, cool. You're Pierce Hogarth. I'm Scott Pilgrim. I call
Okay.
it.
I would totally wish I was
The
Scott
coolest
Pilgrim.
name in that movie, Knives Chow.
That's great.
I mean,
Yeah.
what a name.
For the uninitiated, Scott Pilgrim is actually a graphics novel series, limited run series. And I keep forgetting the writer's name. He had a great name.
Brian
though.
Lee O'Malley.
Yes. What a great name.
Yeah.
Like,
Again,
it's
what?
very
We're just
inclusive.
finding great names all
Yeah.
over the place. Shalto Copley, great name.
Yeah.
Neil Blomkamp.
Chappie?
Chappie
Yeah,
is the
Chappie,
best, of
come on.
course.
So this comic book series I read pretty late, and the problem was I wish it was a coming of age story for me.
Yeah.
But
You'd already come of age
It
at this
came too
point.
late. It's like I look at it, and this is the thing. It's not a kid's story. These guys are all teenagers. They're already
Yeah.
like young adults.
In fact, in the movie, they're in their 20s,
Yeah,
no?
all of them are like
or-
late
like
20s.
the past high school and
they,
stuff.
they just got out of high school in the beginning. There is like a little age skip in the middle also. So they do get older.
I think Michael Cera's face does that for him, so he can
Yeah.
see the
Yeah,
high
this
school
is true.
students
Yeah.
even now.
But when he starts dating Knives Chow, doesn't everyone make fun of him because she's in high school
She
and
is,
they're
but
like,
that's the thing. So he's just out,
okay.
and then she's kind of right in the middle of high school.
Right.
And so just to recap, the basic plot of this movie is Scott Pilgrim plays in a band, lives in Toronto, and he's got nothing. He's doing nothing with his life.
He's a slacker.
He's a complete slacker. No direction, no nothing. And he meets this girl, as we all do, named Ramona Flowers, and it changes everything.
Another great name.
Exactly. And the whole dynamic of the book changes when he is now trying to date this girl who he thinks is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Before all this happens, he's at the band is there, Knives Chow, all that stuff. Knives Chow, by the way, is the girl he was dating before in the high school, and he had to break up with her to be with this girl.
She's a badass though.
Yeah, they're all crazy though. And Ramona Flowers has sort of a condition applied to her, as in when you date her, there's a little asterisk next to her name, which she doesn't make immediately clear. But it seems like if you want to date her, you have to defeat and combat her 7 evil exes.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't know why we're called the evil exes, but anyway, here it is. And Scott Pilgrim now gets into this weird magical realism space, because that's what this comic book does, right?
Yeah.
It's very many, I would like to say, presentations of pop culture, video games.
It mashes
tropes.
up like just all the cool things you could think of. It's a lot of video game stuff, a lot of graphic novel stuff.
Everything. So that you'll have little XP bars.
Yeah.
You'll have like game tokens.
Power-ups. Coins, like whenever
extra life.
he vanquishes an X, they turn into coins.
Gets coins. And the coins are like actual coins, but like 38 cents or something. Like he gets nothing for any of this stuff.
They mash up like literally everything cool in life. There's like a ton of great music.
Yeah.
Like one of the showdowns is a bass battle.
Exactly. Yeah. The list goes on about all the cool stuff that happens. And Toronto, Canada, for once, is an actual backdrop.
Yeah.
And it plays its part to perfection. You have this sort of random, like, world within worlds thing that Ramona Flowers seems to be able to do with her bag.
She just, like, skips through places.
Yeah, everyone seems to have powers. Random powers. One of them, they make fun of things. There's an actual scene in the comics where they show cooking. They cook a casserole, okay, and they show you while explaining the story, like how the casserole is made. So there's actual steps and temperatures and all that stuff. And you know, when you look at this, your mind is so shattered by how much stuff is going on that you're amazed, confused, and that's when you realize that's why Scott Pilgrim is so scattered himself. Like his world is so crazy.
There's a ton of stuff going on there.
There's so much happening, and everyone in this world seems to look at him and go, you really don't have anything figured out. You have this great girl who you're fighting for, admittedly, but doing a terrible job of it.
Yeah.
You don't have an actual job, okay? You don't have any kind of direction or focus or anything. Get the girl and put it all together.
It gives him some direction for the movie, I guess. And what I like about, though they're slightly different in their directions, the movie and the book, is you're with him where you're like, get the girl, but it doesn't feel like that necessarily will make him grow up.
No, it doesn't feel like that.
But those are trials and tribulations that come with the whole journey, you know, like, but the fact that he's not good at decision making, he relies on his roommate all the time. And he can't make up shit on his own because he's like, what do I do? I'm like this guy. I'm like
it's not his roommate, it's his younger sister. You know, or his band.
Correct. So he's always relying on other people, but then by the time he fights all the exes, who all of them are, by the way, so cool.
So cool.
Brandon Rook, and then there's Chris Evans, and then there's a guy.
Chris Evans is like, he just pops up in places that you forget he was. Like, I forgot he was in the first Fantastic Four.
That I clearly remember, and I hate myself for remembering that.
Yeah, but I completely forgot. So in my head, I was like, generic blonde dude. Then recently I saw a still from it, and I was like, oh right, it was Chris Evans.
Yeah. There's a scene where he tries to dye himself when he's in the towel to impress a girl, and he just like, the air vaporizes and like he's sizzling again. I'm like, is that what you use a human torch for?
Oh my God.
Anyways, so as I was saying, like, you know, by the time the movie ends, Scott Pilgrim, you get to understand why he has so many dilemmas, because he's a character who's flawed in so many levels, but he's also learning as we go along, you know. As he learns about the exes, as he learns about the different paths that people come with, he learns that baggage is a part of it, and deal with that.
And it's visualized in such a nutty, overt, self-referential,
like
21st century manner.
Like
this is true.
There's literally a part where he has to face the negative self, negative Scott, and they end up being friends. Like, it's just
in such a Michael Cera way that conversation happens.
And it's perfect.
It's perfect.
And you know, honestly, I must have been like 23 when I read these comics or something, And I thought to myself, I wish I was 17 when I read this, because this would have been me for sure.
It would have taught you
Yeah.
about life.
I could have been this guy. Like somebody read it and they're like, this is literally you if you lived in Canada and everyone had powers, and being a vegan gave you powers, because there's actually a character, one of her exes in the comic, that he's got abilities because he's a vegan.
She had the lesbian phase at some point.
Yeah, and that girl's a ninja.
Yeah.
There's the Indian guy.
Yeah, he's the first guy.
He's the first
Loses
guy, yeah,
immediately, poor guy.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's Scott Pilgrim, a great movie that you should definitely watch. Again, Siddhant or Piers Hogarth, damn you for stealing it from me, but we had a great time talking about it. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with more movies about coming of age and long bottoms.
Who's ahead in the league and what's cooking off the pitch? We at TFG bring all that you need to know about Indian football. Discussions, debate, banter, in-depth analysis with a touch of fun and fandom. This is the TFG Indian Football Podcast, and we're a daily show, so check us out on YouTube and various other podcasting apps like iTunes, Audioboom, SoundCloud, etc.
Hey, welcome back to Geek Fruit. We are talking about movies about growing up in the sci-fi fantasy world, and in general probably, because all of us grow up. And in fact, if anything, sci-fi and fantasy nerds grow up less than the rest of the universe.
That's why they need movies to tell them to grow up.
This is true.
This is how you do it. You know, you
It's
follow
the only
this,
way we learn anything.
you will learn to become an adult, maybe. Yeah.
So we talked about a couple. We talked about Chappie, about robots growing up. We talked about Scott Pilgrim, which
Yeah.
is the best movie ever. Let's just say
Let's
it.
just go with that.
Let's just go with that. So I want to talk about a classic, Jumanji.
Nice.
Oh man, how did I
Man.
skip that?
It's
Wow.
such a great movie,
Wow.
though. And
Like right
it's
now,
a-
when you said that, so many memories came
It just-
rushing back.
Exactly, right?
I went to my 5-year-old
Yeah.
self, 97. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
I
Jumanji
think
was the shit.
especially for people our age, Jumanji was just like it was.
the
It
bomb.
was like an era. Like there was life before Jumanji and after Jumanji.
I have little goosebumps. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
It's
He
true.
literally
What a great
actually
movie.
does have goosebumps. Look at
Oh
that.
my god!
Yeah, I
Wow.
do have.
Wow.
Because man, like Robin Williams, so great.
Robin Williams,
Yeah.
man, like again, late, great. They're like this is one of my favorite roles of his. I mean, like there's of course like Genie and there's like Bicentennial Man. Like he's done great
the
stuff.
list goes
but,
on, but
yeah.
this is special
But
because
Jumanji-
this was so balanced, and he just used his moments so wisely, and it wasn't even about him. He was
Yeah.
just the perfect icing on this cake.
He was
like,
a pawn in the whole game.
Yeah,
This is
he
true.
was.
Literally, he was a pawn in the whole game.
Yeah.
So, Jumanji, if you haven't seen it, in which case, pause the podcast, go watch it and come back.
Yeah,
but basically...
first die.
First die.
Because Jumanji is the
Shame
greatest
on
movie.
you.
Yeah.
Listen, this is coming of age. You don't have to die. You
Yeah.
have to sort of feel
Yeah, after
bad
you
and
cross 18, then die.
and then, then let your
This is
peers
true.
make fun of you and let
this
that affect
be,
you.
Enjoy it in the same way we did. We all watched it in our early teens and we grew up with the movie. So it's basically about a young kid who finds a board game that has existed for centuries called Jumanji. He kind of just like finds it in a wall, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
it was weird.
And they start playing, him and this friend of his. So he's like this nerdy kid who's like beaten
Yeah.
up by bullies and stuff.
Yeah, he's a loser.
They start
He's
playing.
rich as hell, but
Yeah.
he's a loser.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, I mean, if his
Yeah.
dad had died, he'd be Bruce Wayne.
His dad owned like a shoe factory. was
shoe
it?
factory,
Yeah,
yeah.
a shoe factory.
Yeah.
Right?
That eventually
Yeah.
shut down.
Yeah. And his dad was like, "You are a like pussy willow loser. Like you can't stand up for yourself at all. You are a sad little kid."
This is true. So him and his best friend start playing a game called Jumanji, the game called Jumanji, and it's a weird game because on move 2 or 3, he gets sucked into the game.
Yeah. There's a nice crystal
And-
ball in the middle which tells
Yeah.
you what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
which tells you what's going to happen.
Yeah, I love that. It's so murky and stuff. Like it was one of those effects that you really felt because you were a kid.
And even
Yeah.
the pawns would fly out of your hand and stick the board. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
That
oh,
was-
that's cool.
And all of
That's-
this was
that was a
like
good touch.
really cool at a time when we weren't very used to CGI
yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Like late 90s.
Yeah,
You
late
know?
90s.
And the whole world building itself, because Jumanji is a world, not the board game is the thing that summons the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
So he gets sucked into the whole Jumanji world where there's a hunter who basically hunts animals.
Who
and
hunts animals, yeah.
So now we take a jump in time after that happens.
Yeah, about I think 25 years later or
Yeah.
so, like everyone thinks this kid died.
Yeah.
The girl
He just
that he was
disappeared,
with at the time like ran away, and she's lived like a like a terrible life because of that incident,
Yeah,
changing her
she's
life.
scared for life.
Yeah.
And the father obviously loses his shoe company,
Yeah.
so the house is now up for rent and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So a woman with her nephew and niece come to stay in the house.
Yeah, because
and-
they're orphans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
orphans, and they discover the board again, and
They
the
discover the
game
board
is
again.
reopened,
Yeah.
and then shit goes crazy, right? Then everything, like again, the game is started again. The 2 points that the kids started back in 25 years ago, they're still there.
They're still
Yeah,
there.
they have to complete that
They-
same
yeah.
game.
Finish the game, yeah.
The only
Yeah.
way it'll go back to normal is when the game is completed, and you have to
Yes.
scream Jumanji.
And so on every roll of the dice, the weirdest stuff comes out, like lions, stampedes, giant mosquitoes,
Earthquakes,
earthquakes.
That weird hunter dude.
The
Yeah.
super weird hunter
the
dude.
police car driving monkeys.
Yeah,
my
it
favorite
was
part of all
amazing.
this.
Oh, those
of
monkeys are
course.
so weird. And that little girl, a
Yeah.
young Kirsten Dunst.
A young Kirsten
That's
Dunst,
true.
yeah.
Yes.
That's true. But I mean, the focus of this in the end, it's not about the kids of Kirsten Dunst and her brother. They aren't actually the coming of age part in this.
Yeah, it's really Robin Williams and the girl who comes of age, Bonnie Hunt, if I
Yeah,
remember
Bonnie
correctly.
Hunt, I think. Yeah.
So they actually obviously have to go back in time. And
Yeah. So basically, they start the game when they're kids. The game goes terribly because Robin Williams gets sucked into the jungle and survives.
Yeah.
Okay, and becomes
For
Robin
like
Williams
25
actually.
years, yeah.
The kid playing the kid in the movie becomes Robin
Robin
Williams in
Williams
the jungle.
as like a mentally 13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. I don't actually. He lived, right? He lived till then, so he,
lived,
looks like
but
him. Yeah.
in terms of like our world, he really doesn't get it. Like he doesn't know how to drive, he doesn't know how to shave.
Yeah. Well, that
he
way.
uses
Yeah.
broken glass to
30
shave.
Yeah.
that's true. So he's the one that actually develops into a full-grown adult who becomes much tougher mentally, physically, is able to survive, fend for himself, and takes it upon himself to finish this challenge that he started, because that's kind of what his dad keeps needling about. It's like if
Yeah.
something hard happens, you just drop out, and
Correct.
Yeah.
you come crying to me and hope that I can save you. And he, without his parents, without anybody, comes back into his old world, which he's not used to, puts it all down, takes these kids and Bonnie Hunt through the whole thing, and all these wonderful things which are scary and cool ensue. And finally he finishes the game, and the two of them go back in time, as Naveen said, to their childhood, really.
Yeah.
And it's as if the whole thing happened, but it's all yet to happen.
Yeah, it's like they've gained all that experience and they're back to being kids, which is actually amazing. Like, if at 13 you had the sensibility of like a 25-year-old, you are killing it at life.
Yeah, so
But I also
so
think
easy.
that all four characters have some level of maturity by the
There
end of
is,
the movie.
yeah, some
Like,
kind of.
the kid turns
Kind
into a
of.
monkey, for God's sake.
This is
Yeah,
true.
Like he has a
but-
tail
but-
and he feels sad about it.
But the only thing that I would say against that is they don't know who these guys are again later.
Yeah.
Like they just,
Yeah, they run into each other, and they, in like the last line of the movie, they save those kids from getting orphaned because the parents
Yeah.
died on a ski trip.
Yeah,
so
and they're like,
he
"Go for
literally
ski." They're
calls
like,
them and
"Boot
goes,
ski."
"Hey, don't go for a ski.
Yeah.
Let's
They meet at
be
a party,
friends."
and
And he
that is
becomes
hilarious.
friends with those two, that couple, before they have kids.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, you're gonna have kids! I'm so excited!" And
This is
The rest is
going to be a
history.
time travel episode. if you
Yeah.
look at it.
Actually,
It could
yeah,
have been, it could have been,
Could
yeah.
have been. Did you guys ever see Zathura?
Yeah, it was made by the same
The
makers.
same guy, right? And pretty much the same story, but now with
It's in
like space and
yeah,
aliens.
but it was bad. I saw that. It was
Yeah?
terrible.
It was a John Favreau movie.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I don't
That's
remember
what, it
this
doesn't feel
at
like
all.
It was basically just like Space Jumanji.
Why do I feel Adam Driver
Space
was in the movie?
Jumanji.
Adam Driver was
I
in
feel,
the
I
movie?
don't know, I'm not sure.
How
A guy
old
looked
is
like
this
him.
movie?
I don't know.
Zathura is about, I think, 7-8 years old probably. It
Oh.
came out in the mid 2000s, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember this at all.
Even I kind of skipped it because I was like, why are you trying to redo Jumanji? Which brings me to, there is a sequel coming out.
Yeah,
Jumanji 2.
Jumanji 2.
Jumanji 2.
Yeah.
Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Or should I say, Welcome to the Jungle.
Or what The Rock is going to do again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's in it, right?
He's in it.
Or
yeah.
was it Kevin
the
Hart?
cast is both of them.
Oh.
The Rock,
Oh.
Kevin Hart, Jack Black,
Oh, nice. This looks
The
good.
doors are
Karen
gonna blow
Gillian,
off.
and Nick Jonas.
Wow.
What a, it's actually a pretty cool cast. I
Yeah.
like all these people.
I don't think it's going to be a coming of age story, though.
Just Nick Jonas trying to be Nick Jonas.
Maybe Nick Jonas is the one who comes of
Comes
age
of age,
because he
fine.
hasn't hit puberty yet.
Yeah.
Or wait, I forget. Is Nick Jonas the cool one in DNC? No, that's Joe Jonas.
I don't remember any of this.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, but in Jumanji 2, if they're calling it Welcome to the Jungle, Rock has already done a
You
movie
mean
called
Welcome to the Jungle?
Didn't they
Yeah.
change that movie name?
What movie name?
There's a movie called Welcome to the Jungle in which Rock and
Sean William Scott.
Williams
right?
are there. Yeah.
Remember that?
I have no idea what this
Oh,
is.
it was one of his first movies.
First
it was
movie,
really
what are you
good.
saying?
Yeah.
Like
He's
around the
a
time of
bounty
the Scorpion
hunter.
King?
Yeah, after Scorpion
After
King,
Scorpion
obviously.
King.
But he's a bounty hunter that has to go and get this rich guy's son back, and it's Sean William Scott who's
Oh my
And
god.
trying to
across
be a
the
treasure
Amazon.
This
hunter.
sounds-
And Rock obviously is a bodyguard who wants to be a chef or own a restaurant. So that's what
why he
he's
needs the
saving
money.
all his money
Oh my
for.
god.
Yeah.
This sounds
Yeah.
like a movie that I've seen, except I can guarantee you
They
I haven't
changed
seen
the
it.
name to The Rundown. It used to be called Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Change the name.
Yeah, they changed the name.
It's because you knew he was going to do Jumanji someday.
Yeah.
Because Rock is everywhere.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe it could be a good movie. Jumanji 2, Welcome to the
It's
Jungle.
going to be
but
great. It's
yeah.
got The Rock and Kevin Hart.
This is true.
I
but
watched the hell out of
I still
Central
feel like,
Intelligence and I loved it.
Maybe it's because of the time in life that we saw Jumanji, but I mean, so it'll always stand by itself.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
anything, we can just ignore the sequel like we ignored Zathura.
Yeah,
Which,
sure.
by the way, were you guys terrified by Jumanji when you first saw it? Because I
Oh,
was.
yeah,
wasn't
I was
terrified.
scared as
It's
shit.
a scary movie.
And
I wasn't.
Hunter itself is such a bad character, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's so menacing.
He
The
is
Hunter, right?
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that guy
Hunter
was actually a bit off-putting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whenever you find the game, you kind of discover it because these like tribal drums start beating. That sound terrified me. So-
I'll give you that. Though,
No, great sound design, great sci-fi concept,
Yeah.
great animation. Again, like the CGI used. There's a scene where the floor starts melting.
yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
that was
actually
cool.
like
Yeah, he's dangling halfway through. It's amazingly done, right?
Yeah,
And there's a
that was
line waiting
cool.
for him below that. I mean, oh my god. Every turn of the movie is a twist. You don't know what's going to happen, what
Yeah.
the dice will actually unfold.
This
That-
is true.
That's
literally.
the best part.
So the
ever.
game is a metaphor for
Life.
overcoming life's challenges.
Nailed it, guys.
We've
Nailed
all
it.
learned something
Let's open
here.
our cinema appreciation university course like we've always wanted to.
Yeah, this
I'm
is true.
sure like Arindam Chaudhary's universities are
giving
just
him
waiting.
They'll
Jumanji.
take us. Where we talk about Jumanji, so it's an entire course on Jumanji.
I'm
though.
sure somebody in the States has a Jumanji course.
Yeah.
I-
Do you want
yeah.
to be the hunter or the hunted?
Yeah.
Time to find out.
Yeah.
Jumanji 101, Advanced Jumanji, Understanding Zathura. And then, of course, Welcome to the Jungle.
Yes, and how to
Nailed it.
shave without having a razor around.
Yes. All right. Now we're going to hear from our missing Geek Fruit members.
Yes.
First up, Jishnu Guha is going to tell us what he thinks is a good coming-of-age movie.
Yeah, hello. Myself, Gutendra, first time caller, last time listener. After this, never again. I don't know why I'm here today, but I'm calling to say this, this movie of X-Men, the Apocalypse Wala. It is there are these people, these children that are in this picture. At the start of the film, you see they seem quite like, why are they here? These are just the boys and girls. They are going to the mall. They are shopping, they are doing this and all fine, all whatever, done something. But by end of the picture, you see they're putting on these rubber clothes and all these yellow and whatnot, and the laser from the face is coming. And you're thinking, by the end of the film, these are now they're men. No? Even the women's, they have become the men. They have become these X-Men people. So the movie I thought was quite a tutty. It was not happening for me, boss. But I am thinking by the end of picture, now they've come of age. Why they have come, who and all the whatever, I don't know. But they're there. By the end of the picture, you see these boys, these girls, these blue people, they're all of age. They have all come of age, so they're saying is the saying. Where they have come, why for, I don't know. We will have to see. But I think this is best example, best of the worst.
That's the
Best
side
of
of Jishnu you don't get to see usually.
And so now I just want to
Oh,
say
he's not
thank
done.
you for listening to my voice. And I hope you go to the mojaclub.in. You press the Geek Fruit button. You type the buttons on the board. And you get the 33% offer. This will be best for you, I think, regardless of your age, if you have come or not. Okay, thank you. Now back to the show. Thank you.
Amazing. He worked a plug into his message.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
You
that's
know?
what Jishnu sounds like all the time, in
Yeah.
case you don't know. Listen to any other episode, that's how he
Gotendra
talks.
is just one of his names.
Yeah.
He's a jokester, that guy.
This was a great message. I feel like you could print the entire thing out and have it be a motivational poster.
Correct. Yeah.
Like, it's time to come of age,
Wear
whether
those
you have
rubber
come or
clothes.
not.
But your life is 30.
But your life is a 30. So, interesting. X-Men Apocalypse. I mean, it's a terrible movie, as he says.
You can pick any X-Men movie and say it's a
They're
coming
all
of
coming
age.
of age
you
in a
know,
sense,
pretty much.
But X-Men Apocalypse in the least, because then the whole 80s period that they're trying to portray and like all of the youngsters are trying to now be cool. But that is a short-lived scene. Like there's only one thing.
I think I agree with Jishnu here in the sense that if you kind of reframe that movie around those kids and them coming of age, whether they come or not, and these blue people and whatnot,
correct,
it would actually be a great movie.
Yeah, less
instead of like
they made them wear the rubber clothes and it just all went to hell from there because she just became the Phoenix, right? Pretty much.
Yeah. Oh man,
I mean,
that
I don't know
movie
if that's
went downhill
her coming
so
of
fast.
age
But they're
or
making
just
the Phoenix
her
Dark
becoming the
Force
Phoenix.
movie now.
Yeah. Well,
And then
let's see.
and then Cyclops assumes his leadership role as usual, and people
Of
hate
course.
on it because who likes Cyclops anyway?
I don't know, man. Cyclops is like, he's a guy who should be so cool. He wears sunglasses all the time. He was
has
played by James Marsden
the
at one
best
point.
talent.
Yeah.
In this
But
entire
he's so
world of
lame.
fiction,
Yeah.
he dates Jean Grey. I mean, the list goes on. There's Jean Grey. Emma Frost, I think, is also there involved in this. I mean, come on.
He's the boss.
Good game, yeah.
His kids
He's
are
like,
cooler than
in
him.
a high school, he would be like the jock. He's like homecoming king.
Yeah.
But he's just so lame.
Yeah, he is. But he does learn something, I believe is what Jishnu was saying, is that sometimes you can't let these things pass you by, and when there's an apocalypse happening, you can't be a kid. You gotta go and use your eye beams and shit.
I guess so.
That's what he said. The stuff comes out of the eyes, and then, you gotta do that. You gotta
Speaking
do that.
of apocalypse, I just the other day, randomly, I thought of one particular scene in the movie, and then I was just laughing to myself for like 10 minutes, which is where Apocalypse is in Storm's house, our young cool Storm,
And he drinks.
He realizes like, oh, it's been like thousands of years since I was asleep. And a lot has happened in the world, so I should learn something. So he goes and places his hands on the TV. And like suddenly all these images start being beamed to him from like world history. It's like, oh, Kennedy assassination, World War II, this happened, Hitler happened. And someone like Phoenix or someone asks him like, dude, what are you doing? And he goes, learning.
He came of age pretty quickly there.
That's his entire coming of age montage.
Out of the television. I mean, not many people's parents would be okay with that.
If you're doing that to your TV and your parents come like, I'm the Lord. Then just back the
They're like, all right, we're getting rid of this kid.
Done with that.
So X-Men Apocalypse is...
Another character that X-Men Apocalypse did not use very well was Jennifer Lawrence. Mystique was not even in costume half the time. And she was like half-assing it. But the movie she didn't half-ass in was Hunger Games.
Yes.
And the first Hunger Games movie, because...
Good segue,
Naveen.
Naveen.
Man,
That's how it
segue money.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Hunger Games, I read the book first and then I watched the movie, and I think it does complete justice to the book. The movie, first movie obviously is amazing. We get to see the world from her perspective. She's done so much of her role is poignant. She's actually flawed in many ways, but she's also overcoming that. And I think on the whole, Hunger Games, we don't look at it as a coming-of-age story. We look at it more like a survival sci-fi.
Dystopian sci-fi sort of.
Kids killing kids. That genre.
But
Piyush.
But then by the end, you see like she's a broken character because she's gone through so much, right? And she survived and like somehow made it through.
And there's that classic sort of trope of the mantle is cast upon you. Where you are now the hero.
Chosen one,
You are the face of the revolution.
But she was never the face of the revolution, right? She volunteered for her sister.
But that's the thing.
But the responsibility got thrust on her.
She is the face of the revolution.
It's like your classic hero's journey, but with the young adult protagonist.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't want this thrust upon me. But she's like, yo, I'm not going to sing a song and it's going to be okay. I mean, I hate all of this, but I got to do it. And that's a very adult thing to do, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A lot of the movies we've talked about, the kids get they don't get given a choice. They just have to follow the story. Or even if they don't, even if she has to do all this, she doesn't have a choice, but you kind of think she does.
Because even the PR around her when she participates in the game, they're all deciding for her what she'll do.
Exactly.
Like, she'll be the girl on fire, she'll do this, she'll do that, she has to walk like this.
You always feel like at any minute, she can just be like, no, I'm not doing any of this shit. I'm not going to play well with
others. There's teenage rebellion as well, you can see, like, when she's going for the archery thing, the guys are not paying attention to her. She shoots a goddamn apple straight to the mouth of
the pig on the table.
Yeah, and goes directly on the wall, and that's badass. Even in the books, it's a script very badass way. I think she is very cool, and in general, I used to love Jennifer Lawrence importance until I saw the next two movies on the
Yeah.
series, which they ruined.
It kind of went
Downhill.
haywire.
Yeah.
Those last two were a bit.
Very
The third book
memorable.
already itself is slow, and
Yeah.
there's no need for you to like show us all the middle stuff.
Yeah.
And they still decide to go with two-parter for some reason.
Yeah.
But
You
great
gotta
start
make
to
the
a
bucks.
series. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta make the bucks.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think the first movie itself is enough of a coming of
Yeah,
age
it's
story
very
just
good.
to make up for it.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout she does get more responsibilities and make more decisions and eventually does grow up even further. But I think you get the sense of it and you understand the journey immediately. There's
Because
no-
she's a girl who's lost her father. She
Yeah.
has a sick mom at home and a kid
Yeah.
sister,
Yeah.
and she has no money. She has no life. She's hunting for survival.
Yeah.
The authority tells her what to do. So, like,
Yeah.
basically, we as kids, when we grow up, we have to go through all of this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
everybody telling us what to do, and we don't want to do that. Sometimes we act out.
She
and
gets to
that's-
choose between Liam Hemsworth and the other dude, though. It's a pretty good deal there,
Yeah.
I guess.
Who's the other dude?
I don't know.
Josh Hutcherson?
Josh Hutcherson,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yes.
I was going to say Captain Jawline.
Yeah. Which, that's a great description of like all the Hemsworths, really.
Yeah.
What's up with those dudes?
I don't know, man. They're really big, though.
They
That
never
dude looked like a tree.
Those guys never had to come of age. Like they were born like that. I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
I mean,
But
how
the eldest one, Luke, he's the more staunch.
Yeah?
He's paunchy one.
But
Yeah.
there's a third one? There's three of them?
Yeah, there's
Christ.
Liam, Luke, and Chris.
Oh.
So Luke is the eldest. He's the one in.
And Chris is the middle
Westworld.
kid then?
Yes, in
He's there in Westworld,
You're
yeah.
right.
Are you serious? He's
Yeah.
an actor too?
Luke
Yeah,
Hemsworth.
yeah,
He
of
was
course.
he was acting before both of these boys, and he was
well,
there in an Australian TV
wow.
show.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
One of them gets to be Thor,
You've seen
and that's
Westworld?
amazing. No, I haven't
Ah,
gone
okay.
for it. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Eventually.
Let's say no more then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks
Yeah.
very eerily similar to Chris, but
When
like,
he walks in, you'll go like, "Is this guy Hemsworth?" And then you find out
yes,
he
He
he's
is.
a
Wow.
rescuer
Yeah.
of the Hemsworth, but then he's done his bit. I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
He paved the way for his brothers. So
yeah, pretty much.
he's come of
He
his-
did all
he's
the
come
hard
of
work.
age on his own terms.
That's pretty baller, the Hemsworths, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've all come of age.
Those
They're great.
Australian bastards.
Sid, give us an. Oh wait, let's listen to Tejas Menin's message to us.
Does he have one?
Well, let's see.
Well, I just feel dumb now, giving
That's it. That's his message.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, no, we'll play the whole thing.
a really honest reply to the subject of the podcast. I was going to talk about like Pan's Labyrinth and how Ophelia is like the most perfect example of coming of age. But now this is I can't top Jishnu's. I can't do that. I was not prepared. I'll be completely honest. I was not prepared for that. Instead, I will just say he's right about the Moja Club. .com,
my
.in,
God.
whichever. It redirects, man. 33% off on socks. And, yeah. Scott Pilgrim? I don't know, I guess.
Ah.
That's my answer. Okay, bye.
Wow, so they just didn't help at all.
No.
I mean, I already have my Moja Club socks on.
This is true.
Even though I didn't use the code, which everyone else can.
Yeah. And I thought it was .com, but apparently
.in, yeah.
.in
so there you
redirects.
have it. Yeah. So Tejas, thanks for nothing. Can
But I
I
think he gave us an important lesson. When you're growing up, wear socks. Please don't be
You should wear them,
stinky
yeah.
assholes.
Yeah, and you can get 33% off with the coupon code GeekFruit.
Yes.
at mojaclub.in, right? Is
Or,
that it?
no, .com.
.com.
Or .in. Apparently it redirects. So
Oh,
amazing.
it redirects. That's our actual slogan here.
Yeah,
It redirects.
It
guys.
redirects.
I don't think they'll
Okay.
ever advertise with us again after this.
Yeah,
Can I
but-
just say something? That was rubbish. I have a much better coming of age story that I've been saving right for the end.
Okay.
Tell us.
Okay, we've been very Western centric about this.
Yes.
But the best coming of age story that I can remember right off the top of my head is Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away.
Oh, man.
yeah.
Come on,
Yes,
you guys
this
just
is true.
literally
Of
did
course.
We have been
harmonic
whitewashed.
coups.
Yeah.
That's how good that shit
That's
is.
literally like the only reaction you can have to Spirited Away.
Yeah, it's just wow. Look at this, what I'm doing and how I'm feeling. You know, the original title of this movie is actually called Chihiro, who's the titular hero in this, but Sen, which is the name that she gets given because she has to sign that contract to do the work. Chihiro and Sen's Spirited Away.
Huh.
So it's literally, if you don't know the story, this is an anime classic from a great director named Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. And basically, it's about this little girl in Japan with her family who they're moving away to a new place. And she's very sad and upset that she has to leave her friend behind who's given her a lovely note and some flowers and stuff. And she ends up in the new place, far away. And it's a big, huge field, and mom and dad are all checking it out, and they see this bunch of food there, like a huge buffet. And the parents go, hey, maybe we should try some of this stuff out. And they start eating. And she's like, no, it's not our food. Why are we eating this? They just don't listen to her. Continue eating, and turn into pigs. Okay? And she's like, okay, something's going wrong. I got to fix this somehow. So this little, I think she's 9 or something in this movie. And then suddenly this mystical Japanese bathhouse full of ghost characters shows up. And the whole movie takes off. And she's basically now going to sort of try and get her parents turned back into humans and then go back to her world. But she can't because, the lady who owns the bathhouse is like this, I don't know, witch-type character. I forgot. I don't remember the details clearly.
It's
but
so
basically,
eerily similar to Brave, now that I listen to it now.
Yeah. But it's
Mom gets turned into a bear,
pretty,
parents get turned into
brave
pigs.
in a way.
A witch also.
It's crazier because now she's like, okay, you have Chihiro, you have to work in this bathhouse and do all the work, but you don't get to be Chihiro. I'm taking your name and I'm giving you a new one. So that's part of the contract. So you have to give up your name and you have to do all this work for me. And it's basically, if you really think about it, the little girl is giving her identity away, and the power of all this stuff of names and doing good for your family, even though you don't know
you're
exactly
sacrificing
what you can do.
yourself to for your family, really.
Yeah, but the funny bit is, and this is why the approach is so different and so interesting, in a Western sort of mindset, it's a direct transaction. It's like, give up the girl and I don't kill your mother or something. And then one becomes the other, and then somebody gets a gun and shoots the guy. Because that's how everything ends over there. But here, it's like, give me your name and work for me, and I'll see. And this girl's like, I don't have a choice in this situation. I'm just going to go into indentured labor like any young 9-year-old in Japan
who knows
would
if
do.
anything will come out of it.
And just hang in there and hope for something to happen. And she realizes, basically, and we all realizes, that sometimes you just don't get an easy answer. You just have to struggle away till something comes up. And the rest of the movie is this beautiful scene, collection of scenes where she, through her work and through her diligence, sort of creates her own opportunities, I would say. And then, boom, she finds a way to switch it all around and comes back to the world. And the parents are like, oh, where are we? Oh, I don't know what happened. And she has the Jumanji moment where she basically has experienced this lifetime, because for her, it was months in there.
Yeah.
Cleaning stuff, dealing with all these scary ghosts who hate her, things like that. And she's gone and got this now. She is now sort of a woman in a way, because she's had a responsibility, a job,
grew up,
something that she had to do, and that's the very definition of what we're talking about today.
This is true.
This trope we never see much in movies. I remember Jumanji did it, and then Narnia did it, where they all go up to be kings and queens, and they come back and they're kids again.
Yeah.
So I think this is a very selective thing that people do, and it understands, because obviously even Narnia, they all go to the whole journey. They're all kids scared and hiding in a closet. Then they tumble into the world, and then they do their badass things. They go and fight a witch, and they're accompanied by a lion, and they come back as grown-ups, knowing more about the world, but still kids. So I think that trope should be kept selectively for such stories only. Otherwise, we just
Probably,
won't.
For
and maybe it's wish fulfillment in a way, because you come back to a young age, but with more wisdom. Because you're always looking back, going like, man, if I knew this stuff when I was 13. And that's interesting, actually. I never considered Spirited Away's perspective, like this parallel of the Western trope of basically this coming of age movie being transactional, where do this and you'll achieve it, and Spirited Away being more
exactly. I mean,
it's a learning process.
I wanted to bring this movie up today, but I didn't want to watch the whole thing again, because I was a little short on time and genuinely didn't have the time to sit and watch the whole thing again. So I pulled up a few articles to sort of connect the two, and you realize a lot about the approach here, because what happens is Miyazaki, when he creates a world, and this happens quite often in anime, there's just the world and the people in it. There's no explanation. There's no welcome to Narnia. This is this guy. That is that guy. This is this person. This is that person. That's the coolest thing in Narnia. If you get that, you can kill anybody. she doesn't know
Yeah,
any of this
there
stuff.
isn't like a MacGuffin or even a plot really.
none
Like
of
I
it.
never even really
None
think
of
of the
it.
story of Spirited Away as much as it's just a collection of beautiful scenes.
Visually enticing when you're on the journey with her.
So she's in this sort of ghost bathhouse, and she signed a contract that she doesn't know the consequence of, and she doesn't know what she's doing. And one of the small journeys that she really wins on is that there's this No Name, which is that famous ghost that everyone dresses up in the cosplay as. It's this sort of horrible, terrible, annoying spirit that's just
Horrible,
disgusting.
terrible, no good, annoying spirit.
Yeah, no good, annoying spirit that's just annoying her throughout. And she just takes all No Name's shit and actually helps it get clean. And it gets so happy that it gives her like a little ball of a wish or something. Because again, it's not defined what the hell she's got, but she knows that it's
So maybe
glowy,
it
nice
does
magic.
have like a MacGuffin, really.
Yeah, no. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You'd think that it would be the MacGuffin that she'll go and use and help her parents become people again from pigs. But she doesn't do that. She uses it on a totally different other person who really needs her help. And she, without thinking, just goes, you know what? I'm on here anyway. I'll figure it out with my parents, with the boss lady. You need this more than I do. Here, let me use my wish on you. And she saves one of these other incidental characters who I'm clearly forgetting now, but it's kind of important anyway. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The point here is, that's a very adult decision to make. Defer my objective for the good of somebody else.
And throughout the movie, she kind of she's not sacrificing. She's also sacrificing her larger goal to help people around her.
Yeah.
It's a very moral science story.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. I mean, if we only look at it from a moral science point of view, yeah. But if we're really let's just say, if we're under some influences and we're watching this, imagine how much
That's
fun
how
that
you can
would
watch
be.
most of Studio Ghibli stuff.
We should do an episode on that, actually.
On Studio Ghibli?
Yeah, we
Yes.
should do that.
Yes,
Coming
let's do
soon
that.
to a
Put that
Geek
in
Fruit
the list,
podcast near
Naveen.
you.
Put that in the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then
All right.
we'll get together and
I think we
watch a
should
bunch of
just
them.
deviate from foreign Western influences or Japanese for that matter.
Yeah.
What are the Indian coming of age? Let's go away from sci-fi also for a second.
Yes.
And look at Indian films that you've enjoyed, coming of age wise.
Tarzan the Wonder Car. Which is, I came of age because through the process of watching that movie, I grew up because I was like, oh, I realize how you can make movies like this now.
Yeah.
But, what are Indian coming-of-age stories?
I mean, there aren't
Truly.
very many sci-fi fantasy style ones.
That's what I'm saying. We can deviate away from that. Just talk about coming of age in the Indian context. I watched Udaan and I loved it a lot.
that was a great
Vikram
coming of
Aditya
age. That
Mohan.
pretty much hits it on the head right there.
Yeah. So Udaan definitely has a story about this kid, and it's a shame that you haven't watched it. If you haven't watched it, please watch it.
No, it's a great movie.
Yeah,
beautiful,
it's a story about this guy who's forced into engineering by his father. He used to go to a boarding school with a bunch of friends, and he would do some nasty stuff, as we do as kids, like go for a porno movie or something.
Yeah.
And he gets caught. His father brings him back to Jamshedpur, where he now has to work part time and do engineering, and he's a poet at heart. So he's so conflicted, and his father's a drunkard who's a divorcee, and he beats him up all the time. He has a second wife, ka bacha also, and both wives have died. Nobody knows if he's killed them or no.
Yeah.
But then
keep that dark.
Ronit
flame
Roy
alive.
plays such a powerful character, and the kid also. They've done a great job in terms of covering the arc of a kid who's in anguish and trying to.
I mean,
it's a lot close to my life actually.
He takes flight.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. It's definitely up there. But then there's so many a lot of these boarding school-based movies kind of follow in that mold as well.
Yeah, I guess boarding
pretty
school
much any
is-
Nagesh Kuknur movie.
Yeah,
This is true.
Is out there.
Rockford.
Yeah,
Rockford,
was a very good one.
That was great. I'm gonna say it because it's one of my favorite movies. Jo Jeeta Wohi Sikandar.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Completely
That is
a coming of age.
definitely a
Hands
coming
down.
of age too.
Definitely, yeah.
The best boarding school movie, really.
सबसे बहादुर बच्चे को. Yeah.
But yeah, that is. It's so many movies rolled into one. Really, it's coming of age for Amir Khan and his brother.
Yeah.
And it's also like a great sports movie.
It's a great sports movie.
Yeah. I want to name a Hindi guy, which is it's a bit of an obscure one, but I know it actually because it used to play on Doordarshan all the time. It's this movie called Vijayta. Have you guys seen this?
No.
It's called Vijayta, if I remember correctly. It's an Air Force movie. So it's again a similar trope to a boarding school because it's about these bunch of kids who go and they're at an Air Force training camp.
Ritik do this movie?
What?
Like not this movie, but this same I
Lakshya.
went to the
Yes,
army. Yeah,
Lakshya,
that's
which
the
is
one.
also, I think, a great movie.
Coming of
Farhan
age,
Akhtar's best.
Yeah.
Very similar. I'm guessing
good
like
movie,
Vijayta
though.
influenced Lakshya a lot.
Yeah, probably.
But then that becomes more about him in the army as well. But yeah, it's about him growing
but
from a
he was
slacker into like a
rich kid slacker
responsible
and,
army kid. Yeah.
And a lot of Ranbir Kapoor movies are like this, isn't it?
Yeah,
Wake
all
Up
Ranbir
Sid.
Kapoor movies are like him coming of age.
Pretty
over and
much,
over
because
again.
like you look at Ranbir Kapoor's face and you're like, this guy's got to grow up.
Yeah, got no clue.
Yeah.
But you should watch Vijayta as well. It might have been a Shyam Benegal movie if I remember correctly. But it's an army Air Force training camp, and these guys all like it's very similar to Udaan as well. It's like a group of friends who hang out together, and they kind of grow up as a team.
Amazing, yeah.
This
Yeah.
sounds like Top Gun as well to an extent.
Well, it doesn't have like sexy volleyball scenes,
Yeah.
so it's a little. It's
Yeah.
it's not as great as Top Gun.
I mean,
yeah.
you
don't
don't
know
have
Shyam
Bolin
Benegal for
in
that
the soundtrack.
particular-
Yeah.
John
But
DeFore.
it's a great movie, and there's a lot we've missed. Like I mean, there's E.T., there's Super 8. I want to talk about that one,
that's
but
true.
we've missed
Stranger
out.
Things
J.J.
is
Abrams, right?
literally coming of age,
Which
like
I still
all
haven't
all over
seen,
the
by
place.
the way.
Which
You're
one?
weird. Stranger Things.
Oh, why not?
Where the Wild Things Are is another one.
Yes,
That's such
that
a good
was on,
movie.
That was
Yeah.
on the list for me.
Narnia came up. Narnia is a great one. So there's
I
a
wanted to
lot.
bring up Labyrinth as well.
Labyrinth, of course.
Yeah.
David Bowie's one of his finest achievements.
The Goblin
Wait,
King.
is that the one with David Bowie or Sting?
Yeah, no,
That
that's
is David
David Bowie.
Bowie.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of the episode purely because we've run out of time, but we could talk about this all day. So why don't you guys write into us, tell us about your favorite coming of age movies. Tell us if you're coming of age right now, especially.
Don't be graphic. Don't be graphic about it at
that
all.
sounded terrible.
Do not be descriptive to Dinkar about this.
Please do not.
mean,
We can't have those kind of emails in our inbox. But tell us about your favorite movies, what we might have missed. Give us more in the Indian context, man. I feel like there's a lot we could talk about there, especially if there's something. You know what a coming of age movie in the sci-fi space in India is? I'll just throw it out there, and then people tell us Chota Chetan. You have seen Chota Chetan.
I have.
Yeah.
And I've
It's-
forgotten about it.
Sure.
I remember being amazed because it was a 3D movie at a time when 3D movies
I was
were very uncommon.
And Urmila was there in
No,
that.
that's a
And
good,
Urmila
that's a
was there
good
in
catch,
that.
actually. Yeah.
And there was an amazing scene which was perfect product placement. They go to a magic show, and the magician's trick is to make thousands of Colgate toothpaste tubes float in the air. So you're
Amazing.
watching with 3D glasses as a kid going like, what is
Yeah.
this technology? And there's a Colgate right in your face. It's like, that image is probably burned into my brain.
Wow. Well
so
done.
I don't buy Colgate anymore. Don't sponsor us, Colgate. We don't care.
We don't brush our teeth anyways.
We don't brush our teeth. So you can talk to us about all these movies and more. Please tell us about Chota Chetan and Tarzan the Wonder Car. You can talk to us on geekfruit.in. There's a handy little contact button. You can email us at contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. You can talk to us on the various medias that are social: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're at Geekfruit HQ on all of them. You can talk to Naveen. He is a great conversation, but where can you talk to him at?
Just mail me at naveen@indusvox.com or find me on Twitter.
On Twitter, you are Nav
I'm-
No.
No, it's no_Rona.
No_Rona. Right. Man. Siddhant, where can people find you?
I mean, if you want to find me, that's already amazing. But it's at Siddhant_Mehta on Twitter.
You can talk
get
to me.
us on Geek Fruit anyway.
Yeah, talk to us on Geek Fruit. And I mean, if you just generally want to if you want to pick fights with us individually, then you can pick a fight
Then
with
hit us
me
up on
individually
Twitter,
at Dinks Thinks. This is the entire purpose of Twitter.
But most
of course.
essentially, we hope you find yourself.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Yeah.
That is really the perfect moment. Find yourselves. Namaste. See you
Thank
next time,
you,
you
guys.
nerds.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out IVM Podcasts to get some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.